Alrighty, so this lesson is going to be a short lesson on how to solve systems by graphing. Okay, so I introduce systems to my students as systems of equations. And so when we're dealing with systems of equations, we have two equations that we're dealing with, and we've got to come up with a solution, which means an ordered pair, so an x and a y value, that's going to make both of those equations the same, have the same y value. So when you're asked to find the solution to a system of equations, a solution to two equations, you're asked to find the x value that makes the equations have the same y value. So what's the x value where the equations will have the same y value? And so there's three methods to doing that: graphing, substitution, and elimination. The one that I introduced to my students today is graphing. So in the notes I gave them, the first thing I gave was step 1 and step 2. And step 1, which is a review for my students, is that we're going to graph each individual equation using the slope and the y-intercept. So that slope, we're going to pick out that m, and we're going to pick out that b in the equation y equals mx plus b. And that slope's gonna, or that b, that y-intercept's gonna tell us where to start on the y-axis, and that slope's gonna tell us how to move to get my other points. Once both lines are graphed, the point at which they meet at is your solution, and you're done. So that ordered pair, the whole ordered pair, not just the x value, not just the y value, but the whole ordered pair is your solution. And so I'll show you what that kind of looks like in a minute. Now, here's the problem though. Not all the time are lines going to intersect, because sometimes other things can happen with two lines. And so we have this number of solutions idea. Now, if lines do intersect, then there will be that one solution, and we have to tell what it is, the x and the y of whatever that point is. However, if I graph the two lines and they happen to be parallel, which means side by side, they never cross, then there can't be a solution because there's not an intersection point. So my answer would simply be no solution. If I were to have two equations that were exactly the same, then they're going to be the exact same line, which means they would intersect over and over and over and over again, infinitely many times. And so our answer would be infinitely many solutions. I gave my students some hints of how to know these things before they're ever even started graphing or substitution or elimination. If you have different slopes, then you know you're going to have one solution. So you need to go ahead and graph both lines and get the solution. However, if you have the same slope, different y-intercepts, same slope indicates they're going to be parallel, and you're starting in different places because of different y-intercepts. So this is going to be a pair of parallel lines, which means you have no solution. And of course, if you have the exact same line, so if you have the exact same slope, the exact same y-intercept, it's the exact same line, so you're going to have infinitely many. Feel free to pause or rewind, whatever you need to do on these notes. Now, I'm going to do two problems. Okay, so if I'm looking at, and I'm doing two of my students' homework problems to help them out. And so my first step is to graph each of these lines. I can already tell they have different slopes, so I'm definitely going to have one solution. But I need to graph each of these lines, which means I need to pick out my m and my b. My m, once again, is the coefficient of x. So m is going to equal, whenever I have a negative, it always goes to the top number. So -1 over 2. My b is the constant term in the equation. So my b is 5. Alright, well if I graph this line, I start at 5, and my slope, since it's negative in the top, it tells me to go down 1, but I always go to the right 2 initially, okay? So I'm going to move down 1, right 2 and put a point, down 1, right 2 and put a point, down 1, right 2, then reverse and go up 1, left 2. Now I have my first line, so I'm going to take my ID and connect.